Hello, hi everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Inter Worldwide podcast. Today with me we have Moeman. Hi, Mo.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope everybody's doing great.
And also Giulio Dicenzo. Hi,
Hi,
Giulio.
hi everyone. Like Lobbit, I was there and now I'm back again.
Great. So we are recording this right after the Fiorentina game in Coppa Italia, and today we're gonna focus on three games. First off, the draw against Roma. Then we're gonna talk very quickly about the Coppa Italia victory in extra time, and finally we're gonna focus on the big Derby d'Italia game. But first off, let's start with the Roma game. I was disappointed. 1 point from Roma is not so bad overall, but the way it came was disappointing, meaning we were up to one, and then I don't know what Conte was thinking, made some awful subs, and we gave away the last 20 minutes, and so 2 points. Mo, what do you think about that game?
I think in the beginning we have to say that Roma they haven't lost a game home this season, and I think they're the only team in Serie A not to lose at home. So if you tell me before the game I'm gonna grab a point and go back to Milano, I would be happy about it, even though that would mean to drop 3 points behind Milan. Talking about the game itself, I think in the first half we did something that we didn't do before with big teams when we limited Roma to only counter attacks. We were not pressing Roma very high. We were congested in the middle and trying to push them to play from the sides, while Bastoni and Skriniar, they were marking Mkhitaryan and Pellegrini very, very well. The only time we got hit on that half was on the counter attack, and this is how they scored on. We have been hurt many times this season on the counter. All the time, teams come in, and then if we try to press, they hit us on the counter. We lose the ball, and players do not recover very quickly. In the second half, we actually corrected this, and I want to give credit to Conte and the players, because normally people talk bad about Conte and the players and the mentality. But to have something wrong in the first half and corrected in the second half is actually something that we have to note and give credit to these guys. Also, in the second half, the mentality that we showed in the first 15 minutes, it's a very, very positive mentality, going forward, pressing all the field and recovering the ball very quickly. The other thing that we did this game that we didn't do in the games before was the midfielders playing off Lukaku, which is normally we give the ball to Lukaku and wait for him to turn or have a one-on-one with the defender. But this time, Barella and Vidal tried to move to the space that was freed by the defenders marking Lukaku and Lautaro. We gave up the game at the end, yes. I'm okay with Conte switching to 5-4-1. What I'm not okay with is the players dropping deep inside the 18. You can play 4-5-1, but you have a connection between the one forward, which was Lukaku, and the midfield a little bit, not to leave all that space for Roma to play, which is created lots of crossing for Roma in the last 20 minutes. And I know the goal came from a corner, but that corner was actually from a cross for Roma first. So this is what I think about the Roma game. I'm happy with the point. I'm not very upset about the attitude of the game, because we limited Roma to not so many chances, and we had some chances. We could have killed the game off if Vidal did not miss that opportunity right inside the 18. I think we should just move on and be happy with a point from Roma, which is not many teams are gonna go to Roma and win against Roma this season.
I agree with you, Mo, and I need to underline a couple of things. The first one is that is the thing that you told about the connection between the midfielder and Lukaku when we changed our style of play. That is a very important thing to maintain a positive mentality when you think more about the defensive phase. and often we lose that kind of thing. And the other one is what you told about the first half, that nearly nobody underlined how Inter played in the first half, just because we were down 1-0 because we took a goal in the first occasion of Roma. But Inter played a good first half, limiting the great ability of Roma of creating chances on the other way. Some things that you saw that we saw in the Roma game, we saw that again in the Fiorentina game in Coppa Italia, like the missing connections when you play too much defensively, and the problem of converting the goal occasions.
Right. That overall, you guys don't think we have better options in the bench, though?
Can I add something as well? In the first half, when we tried to build from the back in the beginning, the first 30 minutes, we were very far from the offensive line. So Brozovic, Barella, and Vidal, they were very, very deep in our half when Brozovic and Vidal dropped to get the ball. And then we were limited to long balls to Lukaku and Lautaro, and they were not successful. And at the end of the half, Barella and Vidal, they moved up a little, and they created the connection between Brozovic, the defense, and the forward line, which is very, very key in us. As for alternatives on the bench for that game, I think we played the strongest lineup other than maybe Darmian and Young, which is, I think they are very similar to each other. I don't think there is anybody that could have added anything to the team in the Roma game. Maybe Eriksen, if people talk about Eriksen after today's performance, but we did not know that Eriksen has this in his pocket before today with the Conte system. Today he played very, very good.
See, the problem in the Roma game with the bench players is that you have poor choices, and Conte made some decisions trying to have some fresh energies, and it didn't work out. But you don't have so much to come from the bench.
Also, people talk about the Gagliardini switch to Vidal. Vidal was limping out. I know there is a lot of heat on Conte putting Gagliardini in, but Vidal was injured, and we saw today since he was injured in the warm-up. So I think there was no other option than putting Gagliardini in. I didn't think it was Gagliardini's problem in the game, that this is why we Roma equalized. It was just a mentality.
No, I add that the fact that Vidal has always physical problems in maintaining his form through every game. So you need to change him at some point, and it's not easy to make choices when you have no alternatives, no real alternatives, like you told about Sensi.
I think in the Roma game overall, I think Giulio, I want to have your opinion about how we maintained Karsdorp and Spinazzola with the marking Darmian before he goes out and Hakimi, because people did not realize that we limited Roma to no crosses in the first half from the sides. This is, if people watch Roma, they will know that Spinazzola and Karsdorp, they're very, very key. They're very speedy players from the sides. And to have them on check for a whole half, even after we scored maybe 70 minutes, is a very, very good sign for our defense this game. So tell me, what do you think, Giulio?
No, that's true, because the Karsdorp is totally reborn in this season, and Spinazzola too, and they are key players for Rome in every game, and we tend to suffer the squad that play on the wings like them. So in the first time, if you see the heat map of Rome, it's nearly incredible, because like you told, they were totally stopped, and the squad can't get out from our the last third of defense. So it was a great game, but we paid so much for the only one occasion that you give to Roma, and everyone forget about everything, and it's a pity about that. Also because Spinazzola is a player that plays always good games against us, in particular way.
Speaking of chances created, let's switch to the Fiorentina game today, because honestly, I think this is another game that we should have won just in the first half, 2-0, 3-0, and instead we get to the 90 minutes and we score just one goal. And this is not acceptable anymore. I mean, today, between Lautaro and Sanchez, they they miss I don't know how many goals. I honestly don't understand. If you guys can explain or give me some reason why that happens. I mean, I don't think they are doing so much to get in front of the goal and miss. I mean, I don't get it.
To give you some numbers, against Fiorentina, we created 22 total shots, of which 11 in the in the how do you say in English? Specchio della porta.
On target.
On target. Thank you. On target, and it's a lot of chance created. So it's difficult to understand how we always get so much errors. Lautaro Martinez played not a great game, especially with one error, totally unacceptable, and is the second one after the Roma game. Also, Alexis Sanchez is really helpful in the build-up of the game, but when it comes to scoring, he has always problems. Lukaku sometimes too. It's difficult to understand the real reason behind that. The fact is that we get some problems every time, every game, just because of that. Because also with Roma, but in the Fiorentina game, if you score some goals after the first one, you don't have any problem in the rest of the game. Instead, you get to you play the 120 minutes just because of your inability to convert goals.
The only explanation that I have for Lautaro not scoring is that he does so much work before he reaches that final shot or the final chance. When he played against Crotone, when he scored the hat-trick, he was the number 9, the true number 9, behind Lukaku, closer to the goal. This is why he scored 3 goals. I think Conte asks so much of Lautaro movement outside the box, and also Lukaku. And when they get to the goal, they exhausted their energy and they don't have a lot of energy. This is the only explanation I can get. I think Lautaro is being used wrong, thinking that he is a dribbler and he can dribble players. I think Lautaro is a box forward that can feed off other players around him. As for Alexis, I never thought that Alexis is a true forward, number 9. This is why he drops very, very deep. So it's about 40 yards for him before he reaches the goal, which is a problem if you want to score goals all the time. He gets to the end of the chance after spending so much energy outside the box. And that's the limitation of the 3-5-2, that the 2 forwards have to do so much before they reach the goal. Sometimes we give the ball to Lukaku and he has to fight 2 defenders before he is in front of the goal, instead of somebody putting a cross for him or someone putting a through for him. He has to do the work to get to the goal. This is the only explanation why we are very wasteful. I'm not sure about the statistics, but maybe we are the most wasteful team in the league this season.
Yeah, I don't know the statistics, but that's the feeling.
No, Another problem, another problem with Lautaro is that he is too much humoral. He has some problems when he didn't get in the right mood early in the game, and then he can make every kind of error. And also, it's true that he's more an inbox striker than everything else. But there are some games in which he has problems in shooting. He made poor decisions. He gets too worry to shoot, and he has some problems of that seems like a concentration and make the right decision at the right time, also in the box.
Right. So overall, a mentality problem. Another thing about the Fiorentina game that was interesting, as you mentioned earlier, was the position of Eriksen, this new position that nobody thought about it, if not everybody already a month ago. But anyway, what do you think was his performance today? I don't know who wants to start, Giulio.
The position of Eriksen was a surprise because Conte never tried it never, just in training, I presume. But he played. For me, it's a good game of Eriksen against Fiorentina. Nothing eye-popping, but a solid game in which you see that he could adapt to this role that was not so obvious. And the most important thing is that also starting as a deep line playmaker, Eriksen has the ability to get something useful also in the offensive side, like the shoots and the offensive passing and so on. For example, obviously the penalty came from his shoot against Terracciano. Maybe it's a new beginning. The problem is that when he will play in that role, because Brozovic is a starter in this team, and there can be only one. It's not so easy. For example, in the next match against Juventus, for sure, Eriksen will not start in that role, and I don't know when he could get some other starting time.
Well, you want to add anything?
I think Giulio covered everything about Eriksen. I think his first half he was getting used to the role, and then the second half, I think he did great connecting the passing between left and right, and also when Barella came in, he was better. And then when Brozovic came in, Brozovic and Eriksen next to each other, I think this is the best in the midfield that we played today. They were passing the ball left and right. The only thing I want to add about the Fiorentina game is that Perisic gets a lot of stick from the fans, but today I thought he was absolutely great today on the left side. He created so many chances for his teammates, crossing, and he was going forward very well. Also, finally, we saw a good game out of Kolarov, which is, I don't think anybody realized how big is this to have a good game out of Kolarov just for the sake of Bastoni getting some rest when the season gets congested again later on.
Yeah, I want to add also Ranocchia. He played a very good game today. And all three probably are not going to start the game against Juventus. Am I right? What do you think is going to happen in that game? We played today 120 minutes. Juventus is going to play in right now, and I don't know how long that game is going to take. But what do you think is going to happen from now to the game, and how we're going to face Juventus? Mo, please go ahead.
I think Conte will go back to his starting three in the back: Skriniar, De Vrij, and Bastoni. I think these are the best three center backs we have, and they are very well equipped to face Ronaldo. I'm not sure if Morata is 100%, but I think Dybala, they said he's 50% outside. He's not going to play the game. For the midfield, I think we're going to start with Vidal, Brozovic, and Barella. As Giulio said, Brozovic is the starter now for Inter, not anybody else in the Regista role. And up top, it's going to be Lautaro and Lukaku. No matter what happens, Conte trusts Lukaku and Lautaro. To face Juventus in this game, we'll have to know who's going to start, because sometimes Pirlo chooses to start three in the back, and sometimes he starts four, like against Solo, he played four. Danilo played on the right side as a fullback. He did not play as a third center back, which is most of the games. Juventus started with 3-5-2 up top. So we don't know what's going to happen, but the only thing we know is that Ronaldo is going to start with a forward next to him. If it's Morata or Dybala, I'm not sure if Dybala is available, as I said before. We need to be careful about Chiesa. He's in form right now, and he is on our, I think, weaker side defensively. When he plays on the right side, I think Ashley Young and Bastoni, they are struggling defensively a little bit in the last 2-3 games. Teams come and they attack us from our left side. I think we need to be worried about Chiesa. He is actually the most informed player in the Juventus team right now. Other than this, I think we should be equipped to have a very good game against Juventus, considering the fact that I'm not sure if De Ligt is back or not, but without De Ligt, the defense loses lots of momentum from Juventus. He is a very good player, and he's key in the defensive puzzle of Juventus.
We need to take care on our left side, especially because in the last games, Juventus played this hybrid 4-4-2 that gets two men on the right side, like Danilo and Chiesa, and just one man on the left side with Frabotta that gets in front of him a midfielder like Ramsey or McKinney. And so on the right side, they get more space on the wing and get more attack. They get one-on-one like Chiesa, like we saw against Milan. So that there is a critical zone in defending for us in defending, and for them in attacking. And the rest is about Ronaldo and his partner. Ronaldo is always dangerous, also with his ability to get on the wings and to get the defenders out of the line. And the Juventus in general has great quality in their men. And so we need to pay attention to the mentality and our tendency to get too low with our defensive line and get our opponents to get occasions like crosses, corners, and so on. With Juventus, you have to be cynical. You have to play a game when you get the few errors and be cynical on your occasions and concede the least you can.
So, as Mo was mentioning, considering that Alessandro and De Ligt and Cuadrado are out for COVID, Dybala is out for injury, and Chiesa and McKennie are still a maybe. Do you guys think that we have an opportunity to give some distance between us and Juve this time, or it's gonna be something like every other year and no matter what?
It's about time. I mean, apart the players that Pirlo could choose or not, it's about time to make a statement game against Juventus, especially with Conte on our bench.
Absolutely agree. This is the time that we should get that win against Juventus. As Giulio said, it's about being cynical in front of the goal. Taking our chances is very key in this game, because even with Juventus, without their strongest defenders, we will not. I don't think we will get lots of chances. So we need to take our chances in front of the goal. Also, Lukaku has to choose which defender to play on. I know Bonucci, people think he is slow, but he's very experienced in defense. He can control forwards. If Demiral plays, Lukaku should play on Demiral's side. This is my opinion.
So if we have to point out 1 versus 1 that we have to focus on to potentially win this game,
I focus on the one for Inter. The one that has to make the difference is Lukaku, because you know that he has that fame that he is never an important player in the key games. So against Juventus, he need to make a step up and play a great game. So maybe I don't know if the left center back of Juventus is Demiral, the Ligt of who is in that case that maybe gets to play against Lukaku. But the key player for Inter is for sure Lukaku, because he need to make a statement game for himself too.
No, what do you think?
For me, I agree with Giulio about going forward, and I think we need to keep check on Chiesa on our left side. I think Giulio mentioned this. This is very, very important. The last two games, he was very, very key for Juventus on the left side. If we can control Chiesa, I think we have a good chance. And Lukaku gets on his good game, I think we have a very good chance. So it's a 1-1. I think it's a Chiesa with Ashley Young if they play 3-5-2. If they play 4-4-2, I think Chiesa will go to Bastoni.
Okay.
And also, I add the fact that Chiesa has a special link with Inter. He already scored goals against us. So especially we need to take a look at him.
Right. What do you guys think about Kulusevski? Because if there is a player that worries me, it's Kulusevski. Mo, Julia, anybody?
I think in the Kulusevski, I watched the last 2-3 games. When he comes in, he is creating good chances. He is good on the ball, but I'm not sure why Pirlo started to put him on the bench. I think Dybala was in form, but we might, if Morata is not 100% and Dybala is out, I think we might see Kulusevski next to Ronaldo up front, and this is very dangerous. Because normally when Inter defense play a technical player that dribbles, we struggle to keep him on check. And Kulusevski is one of the best technical players in Serie A.
We already suffered Kulusevski last year when he played in Parma. And is that kind of player that typically gives problem to our team because of his ability to run with the ball, dribble people, and create problems with all of our lines. Kulusevski is important for Juventus because he could get in and play on the wings when the other teams are tired. So he's the perfect alter ego of Chiesa, and or maybe so on the left if they need to recover some goals. And also he could play up front to support Ronaldo. So it's an important player for Pirlo also if he comes out from the bench. And it's similar to what we said about Chiesa. It's a player that you need to watch carefully because of his ability, physical and technical, to break the lines.
Okay, last question. Do you think in this game we will have better options playing in the middle of the field instead of playing on the wings? I know we have Hakimi that is on fire, but I think that the central midfielder of Juventus is not as strong as one can think. So probably we will have better option going straight in the middle than on the wings. Am I completely wrong, or is something to think about? No.
I don't think you are wrong at all, because as we know, Bentancur and Artur, if they play, they are both slower in the midfield. However, I think physically, if McKennie play, he's very, very strong. And the only player I think that can face him physically is Arturo Vidal. And he is, I think, 15 years or 12 years older than him. So I'm not sure if he physically can cope with him for 90 minutes. As Giulio said before, Arturo Vidal tends to lose the form at the end of the matches. But I think we can go from the middle if Bentancur, Artur, and McKennie play in the middle, because our midfielders, I think they can create more offensively. But one thing we have to note is that McKennie lately is the one that goes inside the 18 of the oppositions all the time. This is why he scored. But also he went out injured last game, and I'm not sure if he is going to be fit or not. The player who's going to replace him is going to be even Ramsey or Rabiot, and both players are very different. Rabiot is more of the midfielder players that passes the ball a lot and moves left and right horizontally, while Ramsey is a very vertical player. He goes inside the 18, trying to be a second forward or a third forward sometimes. So it depends who is going to play. But going forward for Inter, I think Inter with Barella and Vidal, we can go from the middle and we can attack Juventus from the middle. You're absolutely right, I think.
No, that's right, because the players in Inter that can go up in the attacking position need to find the half spaces behind the Juventus midfielder, because especially in the game against Milan, the Juventus midfield had a great problems to maintain the balance between the length and the deep of the field, and they can't cover very well the space between them and their defense. It's a general problem that Juventus has in this year, and Pirlo is trying to cover the zone with 3 players like McKennie, especially like McKennie, because Ramsey, as you told, is a more vertical player, whereas McKennie is more capable of covering and is more useful on the defensive phase, and we could try to exploit that problem in the half spaces. It will not be easy, but we need to do that in order to create problems in this unbalance of their midfield.
Okay, let's close with our prediction. Mo?
I think 2-2.
2-2. All right. Giulio?
Inter is suffering a lot of goals lately, so I didn't expect that we can see the clean sheet. So I hope that we win. So I go for 2-3.
All right. I was gonna say exactly the same, with 2 goals in the second half to change the result of the game. So let's hope so. And thank you so much. Thank you, Mo.
Thank you guys for inviting me. Always great to talk Inter on the podcast.
And thank you, Giulio.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure.
All right. And until the next episode, bye to everybody and Forza Inter.